But yeah, you don't even need responsibility in order to find a reasonable sense of criminal justice.
And then another thing is that would give us no reason to trust in the reliability of our brain itself, that it is an accurate tool by which we can assess the environment around us or anything, because there's no guarantee that, I guess, just the forces that helped lead to who we are building us so that we're built to like understand things or comprehend things or rationally acquire things, right? So
yeah, I mean,
that's a bit of a
if that's true, and I'm not sure, I don't grant that that's true, but even if that were true, you run into the same issue with the God proposition, right? Maybe God designed people so that their sense data is not reliable, and now you're stuck in the same boat, right?
well, I mean, I don't think that'd be a problem with God, right?
What if he had a good
Because
reason? What if there was some ultimate good that was caused, or that was achieved by making human senses unreliable?
and when we're talking about God, we're talking about the Christian God, right? We're not talking about
Any
Christians
God,
or
any
we're
God, I
not
don't care.
talking
But
about any God.
if you want to talk about the Christian God, that's fine.
Yeah, only the Christian God, because he's the only God who exists, who is good, holy, actual, worthy of all glory, honor, and praise. But yeah, so God desires a relationship with you, right? He desires a relationship with me. And for that relationship to occur, there has to be some level of like understanding and communication. And so that, and also God is always truth revealing.
Sorry. Ask. You'll have to forgive me. Repeat the last 3 sentences because I just zoned out.
Oh yeah, no problem. Um, but yeah, I was saying that God desires a relationship with you, right? And He desires a relationship with me, and He's always truth revealing, right? He cannot lie, and in order for this relationship to occur, there has to be some level of like communication and understanding, right, between you and God.
It
So
seems like a
if you
lot of
just
presuppositions there, buddy.
well, like would you say that you have like a worldview that is rational and sound that doesn't require dependence upon God as a necessary precondition for human intelligibility?
No, I just want you to justify why you think that God is the only thing that can
Gear up
explain,
fast, we're about to
you
get
know,
evil.
intelligibility of the universe.
Okay, why is God the only thing that can explain the intelligibility of the universe?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the
one
skies.
is because this is what is the case, right? Like you're
So
in
it's
God's
circular?
world, and well, okay, I'm just gonna explain. Like it's a bit of a bigger thing. Um, so like, you know, you're in God's world, and I'm in God's world. Like whether we like it or not. Now, as God's creature, you can rebel against Him.
All
Like,
stations,
hey, God,
we are
I don't
green to
like
go.
you
Stand by for
and your
deployment.
stuff, and I'm gonna propose my own hypothetical mental models,
Prep for
my
dust
own
off. We're up in
worldview,
3 mics. Let's
in
move.
which I try to
Here we
eliminate
are.
all of
Head
the
shed
good
gave the
gifts
green
and
light.
wonderful
We're deploying you
things
to
that
the
He's
front
given me.
lines.
Right? So
You're
we
up.
can have a
Grab your
non-God
chutes.
world, but you have this
Rules of
hypothetical
engagement are
non-God
simple.
world
Weapons
rebellion
free on all
against
threats.
God and rebellion against the actual, not in any sort of actual good.
I'll see you on the other side.
Sorry to interrupt, but I asked you to justify your position, and
Team
nothing that
leader.
you've said
Set a
justifies your
drop point
position.
for your squad, soldier.
Let's
Yeah,
make
you
that
haven't even
recon
addressed the question.
contract.
Yes, there's
You've got gas closing in fast.
possibility
Unhouse
of
yourself to
entering,
the safe zone.
and you can
Yeah, so that's circular. That's circular. Prove that
Stronghold
it's impossible.
located.
Prove that the
Targets are
contrary is
marked on your
impossible.
tac map.
Without assuming God.
Yeah, essentially knowledge. Right, knowledge is only possible through God's revelation, and you cannot provide.
Did you see what you just did? You just went full circle. So you said, I asked you why it is that God is the only
Moving.
possible foundation for intelligibility of our
Got one
universe.
sighted.
You said that because the contrary is impossible. And then I asked you to demonstrate how the contrary is impossible without assuming God, and in your answer, you invoked God again. So we did the two-step circle, right? So if you want to demonstrate your claim, the claim that the impossible is, or that the contrary is impossible, you have to do so without
You're
invoking
losing
God.
ground. Move it.
So one way that you could do this is you could list off every single alternative and show that it's logically incoherent. So if you want to do that, then
All right.
good
Your
luck, I
squad's in the
guess.
safe zone.
That would be a proof by contradiction, which is what you're trying to do. You're trying to do this whole business of, you're trying to show that the contrary is impossible. That's what a proof by contradiction is. But in order to do so, you have to prove that all of the alternatives are contradictory, which would mean that you have to enumerate all of the alternatives. So, good luck, I guess?
Sure. I mean, we could start doing that and such.
Eliminate
So,
all targets in the
Well,
AO.
So do it.
Right?
Your
So
squad mate found
empiricism-
intel on the location of the next gas spread. Get it to the designated uplink station for decryption. Hurry.
So the question, right? The question that is before you and the question that is before me is, how do you have access to the actual state of affairs? How do you have access
That's
to objects
yeah, that's
in and of
that's the
Uploading
question.
now.
right?
Secure the area.
As Kant, right? Immanuel Kant, right? He talked about the phenomena noumena distinction. Right? So the phenomena was the perceived, whereas the noumena was the object in and of itself, right? And so,
Mhm.
so to kind of explain this, think of it like this. So let's say you and me are looking at an apple. There's this apple and it's a red
Upload
apple.
secure.
And so
Future gas spread coordinates
light
are marked
hits the
on your
apple,
tac
some
map.
of it is absorbed, the rest of it is reflected into your eyes, and then your brain, it goes and it takes the electrons and it converts it into a model, which is upside down and later flipped right side up. Right, so you see a model of the apple.
Yep.
And so let's say, someone else walks into the room and they're colorblind, and they look at the apple, so they're going to have a gray model of the apple, right? And they
So just to be clear, I just want to clarify that we're going that you're going where I think you're going. Are you eventually intending to show how all of the contrary positions are impossible? Is that where we're going?
Yeah, we're going through all the.
Okay, so which contrary position are you attacking first?
Intel contract here.
So right now I'm going for empiricism.
Okay.
Copy. Secure the recon.
Okay, so let's just grant for a moment that empiricism is inherently contradictory. All right, what's the next one that you're going to attack?
Okay, and then we can go for rationalism.
Okay, and then what's the next one that you're going to attack?
Yeah, we can go for basically every epistemological system that, there's Counterheuritism, right? Counterheuritism is a thing that Matt Dillahunty holds to, and then
Yeah, so I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but how are you going to know that you have enumerated all possible
Got a
epistemologies?
loadout drop inbound.
yeah. Well, I think it's good for us to kind of go through this. This way we have a better understanding of the landscape.
Gas is moving in. New safe
See-
zone located.
It is for the
Your squad mate secured intel on the next gas spread. Get it
But
to the
look,
uplink
none of
station
that-
marked on your tac map for
none of that has
decryption while
anything
there's
to do with the
still
argument you're
time.
making.
know anything. That you're absolutely.
None of that has
absolutely
any.
not about.
But
Right? They don't know
ask,
that.
Theo. None of that has anything to do with the argument you're making. The only way that you can prove your argument that the contrary is impossible means that you have to enumerate every possible contrary position. There's an infinite number, by the way, and show that every single one of them is incoherent. So I'm asking you, how do you plan on doing that?
Well, I mean that's not my position. Like my
Your position is that the contrary is impossible, right?
Here.
No, your position, the argument that you gave for why God
Connection
must be the
established. I
necessary
want you to secure
foundation
that
for
area until
intelligibility
the upload completes.
in the universe was that the contrary position is impossible, right? That was your position, yeah?
Well, speaking about the impossibility,
You got gas moving in.
Contrary is based upon the actuality of God's revelation, right? Like let's say,
So you are making a circular
Intel
argument.
transfer complete. Marking incoming
well,
gas
let's
spread
say,
on your
like,
tac
you-
map.
you-
So
you are
look,
married
squad
to-
members are
again,
in the safe zone.
we can do this loop thing again,
Again.
right? You started off by saying that God is the necessary undergirding of intelligibility in the universe. I asked you, how do you know? You said that because the contrary is impossible. And to justify that, you're now invoking God, which completes your argument, completes your circular argument. So if you want to justify your position that God is the necessary undergirding of intelligibility in the universe, and to justify that, you're saying that the contrary is impossible, you have to justify the statement that the contrary is impossible without invoking God. Otherwise, your argument becomes circular.
This area.
No, no one can have
Down one, and then he revived. I don't know where they went.
without invoking the Christian God. Like for you to say that you can.
They're not coming up on comms either.
You're claiming
They're just camping that loadout, so I can't get it.
possess knowledge.
I'm making no claim. I'm asking you to defend your position.
God.
I'm not making any claims, Theo. I'm asking you to defend your position.
Okay, so. Well. So
Alright.
I mean, are you speaking? Like, are you speaking to me right now in the actual Steam?
You said they're camping the loadout.
Yeah, I downed a guy,
I think,
and
I
then
think
his guy
probably,
revived
but
him
I don't
before I
think
could
that has
get
to
him.
do how that is going to justify your position.
Alright, I'm about to draw their fire.
Well,
You can go to the loadout, ain't nobody there.
like either.
I
you
just said I
are-
think probabilities. Probably, sorry.
Okay, but
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm not worried about it.
if
I mean, I like
I'm
that
right here in
so.
front of you. I'm right here in front of the loadout.
Alright, I believe in you. I trust you.
I don't know if you exist. Yeah, I don't know if you exist.
You're the wind beneath my wings,
that you do not have a rational and sound.
and
world,
you're my hero, so protect me.
Enemies dropping into the AO.
right? You're conceding.
I'm not making any critiques. I'm asking you to justify your position.
Somebody just landed on
You
top of
have
where you were,
a
I think, and is shooting
worldview.
at fucking
Movement here.
Why do you keep
right now.
deflecting from
Yeah.
justifying your own position? Why do you keep deflecting from justifying your own position?
Well, I'm just trying to.
Like, why do you have
Can
to
I take
attack
that
my
fucking
position
rope
in
up
order
to
to
these
justify
guys?
yours?
Well, it's because if you
My mark?
have this
Is it clear on
Are they on-
The
blue mark?
Marking a new
Hey,
safe
fam.
zone.
have this like kingdom to hop.
Are they on the roof?
Maybe I'm terrible at philosophy, and I have no good justification for my
Fire
beliefs.
sale
That doesn't
active.
justify your
Prices
belief.
have been reduced.
Well, it's not about
Enemy in
like
area.
being terrible in philosophy or anything. There is no philosopher who can provide examples of how we have access to accuracy and affairs. And that's
Downed him with my bomb drone. There you go.
No, hold on. No. Prove it.
Finish him.
They're on me.
Prove that there are no such philosophers.
Oh shit!
alright. So you want me to go
Knock
through
me.
all the philosophy?
Oh, little
Basically,
fucking
what
Yes.
jive turkey.
Right. Okay. So here's the interesting thing. Right?
If you're gonna make statements that there are no such things,
I'm going for that guy
you
who
have
fucking
to prove those
sniped me.
statements.
Here's the interesting thing, right? The philosophical landscape is pretty interesting, right? So there's the empiricists and
Where are they shooting from?
they're saying, how do we have access
pink
to
mark.
that? This is the case. It's through the senses. You see, feel, taste, smell. That's how you have access to that. But the rationalists
fine.
take a different approach, and they say the way to access that which is the case is through logic and reason, right? So they make like the mind
Your fight's
more
over,
primary.
soldier.
They trust their like mind
Return
and
to
brain
base.
more than the empiricists, and so both of these epistemologies, these theories of knowledge, ended up crashing and burning
On the roof
basically
over Lodi.
horribly. But we have
Okay,
like
so
David,
Marked on
let's
the
say
blue
that they
spot.
did. Let's say that they did.
Fire sale's over.
David Hume is
Adjusting
a
price.
famous atheistic empiricist, and he was like, I'm gonna take
Look,
this-
let's just grant for the sake
Got
of
him.
argument.
You got
Let's
him?
just grant for the sake of
Did not down him,
argument
no, I
that
just broke him.
rationalism and empiricism are both
I'm going up.
are both intrinsically
I'm gonna drop it in on me.
incoherent. Okay, so what? How does that get you closer
Ah!
to your position?
Kind.
Yeah, I'm just kind of explaining the landscape. So
Going to pink.
Look, I don't care about the landscape. I care about how you're I don't care about the landscape. I care about how you're justifying your position.
Transportino marked.
yeah, but to understand my justification, you would need to
Is
understand a little bit. About
is your justification that these other ideas are wrong?
The line shit I ever saw.
my justification is that there is ontology, right? And an ontology has a certain attribute set that is a necessary precondition for you and me to be able to do anything, right? If you want, I can give a picture. Right? Okay, so here's
Sorry,
I'm gonna
give a
buy back
picture.
green real fast.
yeah, picture. So here, think about this. Okay, so imagine that you are a zookeeper. So
I'm a zookeeper. I'm doing it. I'm imagining I'm a zookeeper. I see the lions, the
Blame the shit out of
Their
bears,
mission. They're headed back to base.
snakes,
Yeah. So
other
first,
animals.
Going around the zoo, we see all the animals, the seals, the penguins. And first day on the job, you and me. And so we come to an empty exhibit. Empty in that it doesn't have any in there. And so in this exhibit, you see bamboo
You got
shoots,
gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
rocks.
Man, I would love to get that damn loadout.
Very nice, very beautiful. And so it has all of these attributes and properties that are healthy for panda life. And so if you stick a panda in there, you can be a very happy and healthy panda.
Boy, Barrett's gonna
So
cancel
then
us.
we will walk a little further on and we come to another zoo exhibit. And this zoo exhibit is filled with spikes. And so if you go and you stick your panda, my panda, in there, you know, the panda's gonna die. It's not gonna be a happy panda. So
Enemy
the
here.
panda represents epistemology. The panda represents your theory of knowledge, my theory of knowledge. And the zoo exhibit represents ontology. Right? Ontology is what is. It's the true nature of being.
Move in here. Movement.
You need to have
Disregard that.
Gas is inbound.
that is healthy for the panda. Right? You need to have an ontology with the necessary bamboo shoots,
Oh, whatever.
rocks,
Head to the safe zone.
the necessary attributes in order to have a
Your
living
squad mate
panda.
is moving up. If they survive, they redeploy.
Ontology, a sound theory of knowledge. And essentially, the Christian
I don't think the analogy holds.
only, right? It's the only sound ontology. The only sound
Okay, prove it.
Be advised,
Okay, no, prove it. Prove that it's the only sound
Tossing
ontology.
smoke grenade.
property.
Let's get
Okay,
you
so
out.
prove it.
Right.
Yeah. So essentially, is there ontology?
Is there an actual universe? I mean, I would think so, yeah.
Is there being? Yes, there's being.
I haven't lost to Gulag today, so I'm definitely losing this one.
Yeah. So there is being, correct? There's being.
I would think so, yeah.
So the ontology. So you say there's being. So how do you have access to being?
Well, I think that I would have access to. Well, I don't know if I have access directly to being. I have access to my experience, which is, you know, both internal and, you know, external or allegedly external, filtered through my experience. But I don't know. I have experiences, and those, you know, if those don't correlate with what's actually there, well, I guess I'm
God
screwed.
damn it. Used it a little bit quick. Yeah,
I've got
Claire,
you.
you're good.
Hold tight.
Thanks, dude.
So
But I act as if they do correlate with what's actually there, because that's what seems to work in the past.
Yeah, fuck off.
Okay, so you
You
actually.
good?
Yep. I got a gold mask.
So how do you know that
Gas is
future
closing
almost
in. Get to
dead.
the new safe zone.
like past events?
I don't.
So you wouldn't know future would be like the past.
Yeah, it just seems to that seems to have worked before, and that's how human brains work. Human brains like to see patterns, so you know, I kind of just feel like it should.
And then, all right. So how would you know? Like, let's say if we're driving in a car and we see people crossing the road, how would you know if they're real? You're hooked up to some machine that's feeding you chemicals and
Gas is closing in.
Oh, I can't know that for certain.
Yeah, not a bad place to be right now.
okay.
Some of your squad's outside the safe zone.
Yeah. So this is kind of the thing that Comp was going into, right? The phenomena-numina distinction. Right. So the phenomena is the perceived, right? There's this model that you have, and the
Don't want
noumena
that loadout so bad.
of itself. Right. to come with arguing, that we
Sure.
could
So by the way, I just
I
want to
need
make
my
sure,
bucket.
just to get us back on track,
Oh,
are we
on the street
eventually
below,
going
on
to
the
get to
ground,
some sort
in
of
front of us?
justification as why God is the only possible ontology that can explain that leads to a consistent
left to
epistemology?
right
Are we going to
into
get to that
building.
eventually?
Or behind it, at least.
Yeah, essentially,
Okay.
God is the ground. He's the ground
Eyes
of
up.
all being. He
Let's
is
hear response.
with a unique set of properties, and he is the only ontology, only ground of all being with all these properties, by which no one else has. Not Islam, not Hinduism, not Roman Catholicism, or Eastern Oriental Coptic Orthodoxy, which all preach a synergistic gospel, works-based gospel, right? Not monergism. Monergism is that Jesus Christ paid for all of our sins, including blood on the cross, and paid for everything in full. So
Okay,
there
sure.
is
But you said only.
There's no other.
Yeah. You said that it's
closing
the
in.
only grounding for
Relocating the safe
the only
zone.
ground the only ontology that can ground a intelligible worldview.
Played
To
up.
paraphrase what you said. You said it's the only one. I'm just asking, how do you know?
Yes. It's because I have a relationship with God, and you have a relationship.
They're definitely.
Well, I don't think I mean, again, you're presupposing that I do. So I'm asking, look, if the argument is whether or not God exists, you can't then say, well, I have this relationship, therefore, that's the thing in question, right?
Gas is moving.
You can't use the thing in question to justify the thing in
Move to
question.
the safe zone.
Well, when you're doing
Only
a
25
world
remain.
analysis, the only thing you can work with is an internal critique. When you're engaging in a worldview analysis, like
So it sounds like
Claymore.
all you're saying is that your
I
point
played
of
more bomb
view
got it.
isn't
Blew him up.
internally sorry, it sounds like what you're saying is that there's no internal contradiction in your worldview.
The guy on
And
the
that may
roof,
or may not be the
reloading.
case. Even if I grant that's the case, that doesn't mean that your worldview is true. It just means that it's internally consistent.
Enemy soldier incoming. You've got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
Push that dude, push that dude.
I like
Push the button. How did I not drop that?
You can say that, but it's not self-evident to me. So
Right on me.
apparently that's
Literally
in
right in front of
contention.
me.
These plates.
second thing.
Slide man.
Okay, you asked about what is like what's kind of like necessary. So ontology, right? The ontology
Oh no.
of God. Unique,
Down
special,
10. Win this thing.
Top 5.
repeatable. You can't copy it. So essentially, God is always truth revealing, or ontology is always truth revealing.
Only 10 were left.
Omniscient,
Failure ain't fatal. It's just an
Not a bad
opportunity to
game.
do better.
into
On the back? No?
and how you have a bunch of discrete particulars that are unified.
Let's just grant for a moment that your worldview is internally consistent. How do we know it's true?
Well, it's more than internally consistent.
Okay, so then provide an explanation as to why I should believe you.
It's actual.
Some sort of argument.
Yeah, it's actual. Right, it's actual.
Well,
It's
you
based
say
on-
that, I don't believe you. Provide an argument. Or a
It's based on
justification.
It's based on that God is the transcendental ultimate, who has.
That's the thing in question. You can't use that as a justification.
You can't critique God being the transcendental ultimate without a worldview to speak from. Right? You can only run an internal critique of the Christian.
I'm not making any critiques. I'm asking for a justification.
I mean, are you speaking from a worldview that is sound?
I'm not speaking from any worldview. I'm just asking for a single justification that doesn't rely on presupposing your worldview.
Okay, so you don't have a worldview if you're not, right?
I'm not speaking from one. I'm I'm going to keep it secret. because maybe it's
Check your
really
gear and
stupid or
weapons.
something.
We'll be deploying
All I
shortly.
want is just some sort of justification to think that what you're saying is true, that doesn't rely on already believing that it's true.
Okay. So when you're saying you want a justification, you're saying that you want to step within the Christian worldview.
No, that's not what I'm
Enemies are dropping
I'm not
into the
asking
area.
for
Watch the
internal
skies.
consistency checks.
Okay, so when you're
I'm
saying
asking for an external justification. What makes this particular world reasonably to believe? Because, let me give you an example. Let's say that
Playtime's over.
the
Stand by for
only
deployment
thing
to the
that
war
is
zone.
part of my worldview is that I exist. That's the only thing in my worldview. That worldview is internal. Actually, let's say that the only thing in my worldview is that I exist and nothing else exists. That worldview is completely internally consistent. It's completely internally consistent. There are no contradictions. But you don't think it's true. And if I told you that was true, and then you asked for justification, I told you, well, there's no contradictions in my
I'll see
view,
you on
that
the
would be
other side.
embarrassing. So I'm asking you to offer some external justification
soldier, mark a drop
that
point
latches
for your
onto
squad.
my,
Go get
perhaps my
after it.
intuition, or to perhaps some axioms that I already accept, that would lead me to the belief
Keep
that
clear
you
that
have.
gas.
Otherwise,
Safe
you're just
zone.
basically masturbating
Gas
in this
drop is en
self-consistent worldview
Intel
that no one else is
contracting,
going to
cancel
accept,
off.
because in order to accept it, you have to accept it.
Disregard that. Let's nick that recon contract.
Well, I mean, what would it mean to exist? You say like I exist. How would one define the I?
Yeah, it's just me existing. That's it.
What would the I be?
The ontology is me. That's the entire set of that's the ontology. That's the entire ontology.
down the enemy.
My mental state
Well,
in this hypothetical.
Enemies dropping into the
I
AO.
mean, it's something that you don't
Looks like this
genuinely
intel
hold.
reveals the location of the
You don't
next
genuinely
gas
hold
spread.
Right,
Get it to the designated uplink
but
station
it is
for
equivalent to the
decryption.
argument you're making because it's internally coherent, and yet it can't be justified externally, which is what you're doing. You
Wait,
can't
wait.
provide me any sort of
got
external
gas
justification
moving
for
in.
why I should believe you.
Okay, wait. So you're saying the ontology is you. So are you saying that you're eternal?
Yep.
Data transfer is running. Secure the perimeter. Your squad made it to the safe zone.
Are you like a concrete one or abstract?
It's just my mind.
Bunch of-
It's just my mind. That's it. That's all that exists.
Well, is there a bunch of like particulars or
Transfer
everything?
complete.
Nope, it's just my mind.
Marking incoming
Just
gas
my
spread
mind.
coordinates on your TAC map.
Just your mind.
Yep.
Okay, so nothing is distinct from you.
Nope. Everything is just my mind.
Or is it some type of pantheism?
Nope. It's just me. Nothing else.
Okay, just you. All right. So would you affirm any true distinctions?
Would I affirm any true distinct? Well, there's only one object, so there's nothing to be distinct from.
All right. So if there's no true like distinctions, well then there's no distinction between a truth and a lie.
You have a
There's
buy
truth and
station
a lie,
inbound.
and therefore your worldview would reduce into. A
No, truths and lies, they don't
Well,
exist. Truths and lies don't exist. They're not objects. They're not part of the ontology.
Okay, well then your worldview.
Deployable
goes
buy
into a
stations ready.
Because the law of
No,
non-contradiction-
it's where's the contradiction? No, the law of non-contradiction doesn't exist in the in this ontology.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. So anything could be. Yes could be no. Up could be down.
Well, there's only the universe in this ontology is my mind, and that's it.
Pushing here.
So the set of all things that could be is one element.
Intel
That's my
contract
mind.
here.
Yeah, and there's no
Moving.
distinctions, right? No distinctions between.
Yep. Well, there's nothing to be distinct. There's only one element in the set.
Yep. So your worldview reduced down to absurdity, right? Because you have denied.
Where's the contradiction? Where's the absurdity?
The law of non-contradiction.
Bingo. You got there. There are no contradictions because there is no law of non-contradiction.
Well, anyway, you demonstrated that worldview doesn't work, right? So that's why you need to.
No, we didn't. It's internally coherent.
Christian. You need to come to the Christian worldview.
Wait, I'm sorry. How did you demonstrate that worldview doesn't work? Where's the contradiction? Where is the internal critique?
So arbitrariness is the death of a worldview. Would you
What's
agree?
arbitrary about that worldview? It has a single object in its ontology, and that's it. What's arbitrary about
Got
it?
cash here.
The rejection of the law of non-contradiction, right? If you say, okay, there is no law of non-contradiction.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Where's the internal critique?
Loadout drop headed your way.
So I let's say I'm inside your worldview.
No, you
and
can't be,
There is.
because I'm the only one that exists.
Okay, so let's say you're inside that worldview.
Yep.
Gas is moving in. New safe zone located.
You could be inside and outside, or you could be like.
Inside and outside what? There's only me.
Yeah, it's.
Emptiness isn't part of the ontology.
Yeah, everything is one, right? Everything is one. So and also when-
Inside and outside not part of the
I
ontology.
have that dosh.
Yeah, so when you say that there is no what you call it, there is no law of non-contradiction. That is the definition of arbitrariness, and that kills your worldview.
That's not an internal critique. That's an external critique.
That is internal.
No, it's not. Wait, so an internal critique is where you
Got a
take
loadout drop inbound.
two propositions that are true in that worldview, and you show that they can't both be true, or that they are not both true.
Gas
But
is inbound.
fortunately, law of non-contradiction doesn't exist in this worldview, so you can't even do that.
Well, you're saying that truth doesn't even exist in your worldview.
Get to
Yep,
the
it's
safe
not part of the
zone.
ontology. Why doesn't it work?
Moving here.
Because nothing is true.
Well, true is a non-object in this worldview, so that's a vacuous statement.
Throwing smoke. Destroy that target.
Alright, so that was why we need God, right? God is very.
Nope, that doesn't answer the question at all.
Very holy. I mean, maybe try run it by some atheist philosophers. You know, maybe like talk to Cosmic Skeptic or Graham Oppie or some atheist philosopher and see if
Moving.
anybody can hold to that as being rational.
Cancel last.
So with
Tossing smoke
Okay, perfect.
grenade. Let's get you on your feet.
Hey, prove it.
Calling in a
Look,
counter
so
UAV.
we've been talking for like an hour, and you haven't provided a single external justification for why I should accept your worldview. All you've done is you've attacked other worldviews, but none of that actually makes your worldview any more plausible.
Well, is it valid to do an external critique of the Christian worldview?
Armor here.
I'm not doing an
Got
external
armor box here.
critique. I'm asking for external justification. I'm not making a critique of your worldview. I don't know if you like. I'm not critiquing your worldview whatsoever. I'm asking for justification of your worldview.
So
Counter UAV is bingo fuel.
justification.
RTV at this
So
time.
you're asking for an empirical demonstration.
It doesn't have to be empirical. It could be philosophical in basis as well. I mean, look. So typically when people have a conversation and one party wants to convince another party, you can't just say, well, if you assume what I believe is true, then I'm right. You have to find some common ground, some common axiom or some common experience or some common intuition, and then make a case that from those axiom, intuition,
Gas
whatever,
is closing in.
therefore
Get to the new
your
safe zone.
worldview holds. That's what an external justification looks like.
Movement.
So external.
Threats in the area.
It doesn't have to be like empirical. I don't mean external as in like, sense data. I mean external as in take some axiom that we both agree on and use that to derive your
Your
worldview.
squad mate has entered the gulag. They'll need to survive to redeploy.
That would be one way of doing it anyway.
So in a non-God worldview, where the non-God
Your
worldview
squad mate was sent to the
rests
gulag.
upon axioms.
Fight for a chance to redeploy.
Axioms are
Well,
base
your
level-
worldview also rests upon an axiom,
Destroy
right?
that target.
Your worldview, so, well, it either rests upon an axiom, namely that God is the necessary foundation for an
Gas is
intelligible
closing
universe,
in.
or you have a justification for that claim. So if you're saying that you're not presupposing as an axiom that God is a necessary underpinning
And you're
for
gonna have to fight
intelligibility
to
of the
earn
universe,
redeployment.
that means that you must have a justification for it. So I'm waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the Christian worldview doesn't rest upon an axiom, right? So an axiom is a base level assumption without external verification. But the non-God worldview does rest upon an axiom, right?
I don't think that is a wild claim that you're saying that you can generate a worldview from nothing.
No.
Can you? No. I mean, if there are no undergirding assumptions, then that means that you are producing a
You're RTB.
worldview, or you're constructing a worldview from no true statements, and which is like generally like just mathematically impossible. So don't just say like engage with it.
So is ontology an axiom, right? Is being an axiom?
Sure.
Base level assumption.
Yeah. Assuming that there is an ontology, yeah.
Moving. Hostile located.
Okay. So
That's an axiom.
all right. So if being, right, if ontology is an axiom, a base level assumption without external verification, that would make itself.
That sounds incoherent to me. Try again.
In such that you
Fire station here.
assume being into actuality, right? So you're actually ascribing almost godlike qualities to yourself. Right? You're saying you're
Sorry, I didn't follow anything that you said. Either I'm stupid or what you said was incoherent. So can you try again?
Okay, no problem. Okay. So, I asked you, is ontology an axiom?
Yeah, I'm happy to grant that ontology is an axiom.
Yes. So you said that.
Gas is inbound. Marking a
Or
safe
rather,
zone.
more properly, the axiom would be something like there exists an ontology.
Okay, the axiom is there exists an ontology. So when you use the word exists, right? Exists is like being. It's to speak about existence is to speak about being. Yeah. So the axiom is there exists an ontology. So it's a base.
You could say that
level-
there exists something. That would be a fine axiom.
Yeah. So it's a base level. So an axiom is a base level assumption without external verification.
I'm
So
taking fire.
you would be assuming you're the one. You're the starting point. You're the
Yeah, I'm on
starting-
top.
Okay, you're the starting point that
Gas is moving.
assumes that there is existence. Right? You're the starting
No,
point that
that wasn't the axiom.
being.
No.
So you're
I mean, if you want another, if you want another axiom, namely that I exist, and so you can have two axioms that I exist and there is more than just me that exists. That's a possibility. You can have two axioms. That's fine.
I mean, yeah, you can have a lot of axioms, but yeah. So yeah, reasoning from assumptions, right? And so some base level assumptions.
Yes, I agree.
That people commonly. Yeah, so some base level assumptions that people commonly hold to in the non-God worldview, right? So base level axioms.
Top that
So
one!
in a not God worldview, they cannot really ultimately prove that because their
Enemy visual.
their worldview is shrouded
Enemy
in
marked.
ultimate mystery. You know, the
Sure, that's why
worldview-
they're axioms. That's why they're axioms.
Yeah.
Axioms are unjustified.
Eyes up.
Enemy soldier
Serious
incoming.
hot. Disregard that. Marked a target.
Yeah, that's
then
what an axiom is. That's how all reasoning starts from an axiom.
Well, I guess in the Christian world, we don't hold to that. We hold to that.
Well, okay, so tell me. So hold on. Let's say that you know absolutely nothing. You don't know anything about logic. You don't know anything about objects. You don't know anything about ontology, technology, anything. How do you come to this world without any preconceived notions about anything?
Moving here.
Well, you know, God, who is the
Movement.
ground of all being,
You don't know what God is.
reveals.
You don't know what God is. I'm sorry.
There's no such thing as not knowing God.
Gas is
Oh, so
closing
there's an
in.
assumption.
Relocating
Bingo.
the safe zone.
You just
No, it's
assumed
not.
that.
No, it's not an assumption. It's actuality.
Well,
It's what it is.
You can just say it's true. That doesn't make it not an assumption. I could just say, like, look, watch me do the same
Loadout
thing.
drop
The external
headed your
world
way.
exists. That's an assumption. No, it's not. It's actuality. See?
We have a loadout drop here.
External world exists. So in what world?
Not speaking from any worldview. I'm just saying the external world exists.
You put God first, accept that He has revealed to you that your sense perception is basically reliable.
Gas is closing in.
Wait, hold on. Did you hear that? Did you hear what you just said? You said you accept that. I.e., you are willing to accept the truth of the proposition.
Gulag is closed until further
Sounds like an
notice.
assumption to me.
Enemy
I
UAV
just get
overhead.
distracted.
Let me be super clear. Presuppositionalism is not taken super seriously because it's dishonest
dropping
with
into
the way
the
that it
AO.
conducts its philosophy. Because it doesn't accept that there are axioms that it's assuming to get going. This is why serious theologians don't often consider presuppositions.
Well,
I'm just telling you that your worldview is not held in high esteem because it's, you know, it's kind of dishonest.
well,
Me too. And one of the ways to come to truth is honest reasoning. And it seems like you're not engaging in honest reasoning, which suggests to me that you're not actually interested in what's true. Or if you are interested in what's true, you've been deceived into believing that your dishonest reasoning is actually honest.
I mean, by what standard are you using to say that I'm not using honest reasoning?
Well, you are failing to acknowledge
Gas is
that your
closing
worldview
in. Get
has
to
an
the new
axiom
safe
at all.
zone.
And how do you know that my worldview necessarily has
every-
an axiom?
Every single time you've elucidated on your worldview, you know, you'll say things like, you know, you accept that God has revealed himself, or that, you know, God exists and that's just part of existence. Those are all examples of axioms, right? You just don't want to call them that because it undermines your worldview.
Well, you know, maybe I'm poorly wording it. So God has revealed himself. God has
How do you know?
himself to you.
Well, how do you know that he's revealed himself to
God
me?
cannot
I mean, I like maybe you had an experience that you think is God, but how do you know that he revealed himself to me?
Well, because you're talking to me right now, and you know right from wrong. You know that you should love God and love your neighbor as yourself, right? So
How do you know I know those
if
things?
you're helping, God's revealed it, right? Direct revelation.
God revealed it to you, that he revealed it to me?
Well, he reveals to us to love our neighbors as ourselves, right? And the content of loving your neighbor is the recognition that they are a conscious agent made in the image of God, who also.
So maybe he
has
revealed that to you,
this sort
but
of
how do you know he revealed that to me?
understanding.
How do you know he revealed that to me? Maybe he revealed that to you. Sure. How do you know he revealed it to me?
Because God has revealed to me that you are made in the image of God. He reveals to you that, like, I'm made in the image of God. So
How do you know that he revealed that to me? How do you know that he revealed it to me, though? You're just talking about what he revealed to you.
yeah,
It seems like I'm actually the only person that's qualified to talk about what was revealed to me, right?
We should
Because it's subjective, not objective. It's not something that can be externally viewed.
Well, we should trust God's words. Right? God's words.
That sounds like an assumption.
The words.
Sounds like we should assume this. We should assume God's words
No.
are true.
It's not
That's what it sounds like.
No, not an assumption.
So then why should I trust God's words?
Because God is good. Right? God is good. He's holy. He's righteous.
What if I don't think God is real at all, why should I trust these words?
If you don't, well, it doesn't, like, it's not about thinking. It's that God has revealed himself to you. Like, you know.
You say that, but it seems like I would be more accurately able to represent what has and has not been revealed to me than you are. Like, why would I trust you? Look, so let's give an example. Let's say that there's two people on the street. One person says, my favorite color is red. The other person says, no, your favorite color is blue. Who should we believe more?
Oh, like one person's my favorite color is red. Next person says their favorite color is blue. I mean, that's.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry,
that's
you misheard. No, you misheard. So let's say there's Alice and Bob. Alice says, my favorite color is red. And then Bob says, no, Alice, your favorite color is blue. Should we believe Alice or should we believe Bob? About what Alice's favorite color is?
I mean, that's a tricky question, though, because what if Bob has...
Is it really a tricky question? Sounds like you have a pretty bad epistemology if that's a tricky question.
I mean, what if Bob has some ulterior motive by which he designs to conceal the true favorite color that he has, like maybe his cryptocurrency wallets use...
It's not his favorite color that he's talking about. It's her favorite color that he's talking about. He's saying that Alice's favorite color is blue.
Okay, Alice's favorite color. Okay, well then maybe Alice would have some other reason by which not to reveal what her favorite color is.
So all else being equal, who should we believe?
So all else being equal. I mean, so if we're granting that everyone is telling the truth, then it's just based on preferences. We should believe Alice for her favorite color and Bob for his favorite color. But this is about preferences, and we're not speaking on moral issues, right? Like moral.
Right. Okay. So now
landscape is different. Than,
let's change the analogy. Let's say that Alice says, "I had a dream last night that I went to the carnival," and then Bob says, "No, Alice, you had a dream last night that you went on a cruise, or that you flew on a rocket ship, or whatever it might be." Who should we believe? All else being equal.
Get your head in the game, Kate.
Wait, so Bob said you went on a cruise?
Alice said that in the dream she went on a carnival. Bob said that in the dream she went on a cruise, and the cruise didn't have a carnival on it.
Yeah, we would not go with Alice.
Right. So it seems like, as far as experience goes, it is more reasonable to believe the person with the experience than somebody else who is not the person in question. Which seems that, epistemologically at least, both you and I agree that I am a more reliable indicator of whether God has revealed himself to me than you are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more reasonable to believe me when I say that God has not done so than to believe you when you say that God has done so to me.
Yeah, so that holds given that all players are 100% honest, right? And they have no underlying reasons by which to reject that, which is the case. And when it comes to the discussion,
Yeah, so now you would have to
of
justify
morality,
why I'm not being honest then.
Well, like, you know, sometimes we love things other than God, right? Like we want to make like our own idols and stuff and say, okay, like maybe like let's say I want to sleep around a lot with lots of girls. It's like, okay, well, then I don't really
Sure,
want
you're trying to
God,
you're trying to
right?
impugn me though. So I don't know why you're talking about it, talking in the abstract, right? So how do you know I'm being dishonest? When I tell you God has not spoken to me or whatever.
Well, it's because you're not putting God first, right? You're not putting God first. You're not saying, you know, God, you are good, you're holy, you're worthy.
So
of all
you're
glory,
assuming
honor,
the
and
consequence.
praise.
You're assuming I'm being dishonest because you're assuming that must be the case. Otherwise, your worldview would fall apart. So your argument's circular.
No, you would need to demonstrate that I don't have a relationship with God, and you don't have a relationship with God.
I don't have to demonstrate anything about you. I just have to challenge your position that I'm lying. If you're going to assert that I'm lying, you better prove it.
But you don't have a grounds
I am
from
with
which
you.
to challenge my position from.
I'm not challenging your position. You're making the assertion. Look, okay, so all else being equal, it is better to believe me than it is to believe you about my own experiences. So if you want to change, in fact, actually, Danny just turned me onto this phrase, the argument from low priors, right? All else being equal, it is more probable that I'm more accurate. I provide a more accurate representation of my experiences than you do. So if you want to overcome that huge gap in probability of who's more likely to have an accurate representation of my experiences, you have to provide a lot of evidence, i.e. the burden of proof is on you to show that either I'm lying or that I've had some experience or something along those lines.
Yeah, you cannot speak about evidence or being without God. Right? You and I, we cannot speak.
Again,
about
we go back to the
being
circular
without
argument.
God. And but yeah, you cannot speak about evidence.
So you can't justify how you know I'm lying. You can't justify how you know what experiences I've had. You can't and actually, sorry, the only justification you have is because you're assuming that God exists. But if that's the thing in question, well, then your argument becomes circular.
It's not an assumption, right? A transcendental ultimate and ontology itself is not an assumption. Like you look into like Immanuel Kant or like any philosopher, you'll kind of see that ontology itself is not assumption. It's not based upon an axiom, a base level assumption.
Assuming that there exists
yeah,
something
so
is certainly an assumption.
I stand asserting. We're not just talking about something. We're talking about ontology.
Assuming that anything exists is an assumption.
But we're not just talking about things. Right? We're talking about.
Okay, you're playing semantics. Assuming that there exists, assuming that there is not just nothing is an assumption.
Not just assuming is not. Well,
so here's what I would suggest. I would suggest you go take like a formal logic course, and you'll see how to build arguments, and you'll see that those arguments are built from assumptions. They're called axioms. And then try to ground your position that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so I'll just say kind of this thing. One is that, so I stand upon God and his revelation, whereas in your rejection of God and his revelation, you attempt to stand upon nothing, right? So there's nothing that grounds your worldview, essentially. And Yeah, that's fair. So anyway,
All right,
you know,
Theo,
thanks
thank you for the
thanks
conversation. I
chatting.
do appreciate it. I like how we both did the same thing. Have a good one, man.
All right, have a good one. God bless.
Yeah, also go look at how much I embarrassed Darth Dawkins, by the way, Theo. Maybe you'll find out that you probably shouldn't talk to him, or you probably shouldn't listen to him. And here for the midstream ad break, I have my real human brother. Hello.
As the real human brother of Dr. Blitz, with authentic human kidneys and emotions, I too experience the existential dread that comes with silence. To prevent this, it is important to support people like my brother that are sharing their voices and perspectives with us, and keeping us from being forced to sit in silence with our own thoughts as our only company. A good way to do that is to subscribe, send gifts, or use things like Patreon or Cash App, accessible via the link tree on his bio. If you are a fellow human who does not have the available finances, you can also show your support by following the channel, sharing and liking the live, and commenting. To further delay reckoning with the aforementioned silence, you can join his Discord channel via the link on his linktree in his bio. There, you can participate in discussions with other members of the community on a variety of topics and share funny memes. However you do it, make sure to remind him that you appreciate his help in delaying the inevitable reckoning of being squishy organic creatures with finite lifespans that all humans, which I definitely qualify as, face when left alone with just the sound of our own cooling fans.
Remember to subscribe, and let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. By the way, the Darth Dawkins conversation, I believe, was posted on YouTube. If you can't find it on YouTube, and I don't know what it would be under, you can go onto my Discord, and in the general chat, there are two pinned videos that have the recordings in them. Obama. Yeah, no, Darth got banned yesterday because after he left my live, he went onto his live and he started calling me autistic, and then he got banned. All right, it looks like this person's not showing up. Let's talk to Big Pop. Is this Andrew? What's his face?
No, I am not Andrew.
Okay. How's it going?
I'm all right. So,
What do you think about this background here?
I like it. It's good. Yeah.
Nice.
So, I guess we should probably start with the definition of God, right?
Sure, I guess. So to be clear, the reason we got to a God conversation in the last conversation, we started on this topic. So do you not, like, if you don't want to talk about this topic, that's fine, I guess. But I'm just making sure that you want to talk about theology rather than politics.
Well, isn't this conversation about politics having to do with a base in theology?
Well, it only got that way because the guy was trying to justify his political worldview from the Bible.
Well, isn't that
kind of what? But like, not every conservative does that. There are conservative atheists, so.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So it just depends on how you want to ground your political worldview.
Right. From the definition that I understand and from what I read, it's based in theology for the most part, from what I've gathered.
I mean, that can't be super true because there are atheist conservatives, right?
We're headed to the war zone.
So then how do they, if they're
by.
atheists, why would they use, how are they using theology to justify their political worldview?
I guess we would have to go to Google and its definition for that to try and figure out how that is what Google provides, I guess. Because that's where
Why are we relying on Google for a definition? Look, there are atheists that are also conservative, right?
Right. I'm not arguing that, but when you go to Google and you search the definition of conservatism.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what is the Google? By the way, and like, I'm not tying myself to a particular to a particular
Playtime's
definition. But the
over.
first
Stand by
definition
for
is
deployment to
commitment
the
to
war
traditional
zone.
values and ideas with opposition to change or innovation.
Right.
The second definition is the holding of political views that favor free enterprise, private ownership, and socially traditional ideas. So like neither of these have anything explicit to do with religion. They just tend to correlate pretty heavily.
And see, when I went and searched it had theology. Hold on, let
5
me see.
seconds. Stand by to deploy.
Yeah. So they gave so the sentence that's given, like they used the example
Surviving
sentence
your
as
team can
proponents of
redeploy.
theological
Eliminate
conservatism.
targets to bring them
But
back
that's an
faster.
example sentence. It's not
Your
part of the
team
definition.
leader. Set a drop
I
point
say
for
we
your
land
squad,
here.
soldier.
No.
So like the word itself isn't inherently like religious or theological. But look, if you want to talk about theology, we can. I just want to make sure that we both understand that is not the supposed topic of conversation, and that's fine. We can just do that.
No, I mean,
We can just talk about theology if you want.
Well, no, and see, I find this rather interesting myself because for me, as a person who's a spiritualist who's studied world religions fairly deeply, to me, conservative views are very,
Moving to my armored statue.
very much based on what you consider to be a conservative view from your own perspective, I suppose. Because every religion is a little bit different. So when it comes to views,
Conservative views don't have to be tied to religion at all.
Armor here!
This is true. But
Like conservative views are just generally views that are like socially traditional and perhaps economically hierarchical.
whose traditions are infused? Like,
The traditions of the society that you live in.
so that is, but the traditions of the society that we live in are very different based on your ancestral backgrounds. No?
Well, yeah, so that's why you take kind of like an average, right? If you go look at the traditions of people who,
Hostile located.
of the people in power 300 years ago in the United States or in Western Europe, there is a very specific set of traditions, right? Traditional social structures, traditional economic structures, things like that.
Enemy marked.
Absolutely.
And so a conservative is somebody who is trying to preserve or bring back those perhaps older social structures, economic structures, perhaps religious structures, things like that.
Right. Okay. Alright, so we're on the same understanding.
It's all on
See,
you.
I have a-
Stay alive so your squad can
Where I
redeploy.
come from and what I've, like my personal background, I am very much
Your
a
squad mates
believer in
redeploying.
God,
Well
but I'm
done.
very much on the outside of almost every factor.
Gas is moving.
So
Okay.
Your squad
when
mates
I-
back
when I
on
say
station.
Bring back
Good work.
like the conservative, or to conserve, I guess, the basis of where we come from as a human race is different than say a Christian or a.
So so are you politically conservative? Do you hold politically
I would call myself,
conservative
I would call
positions?
myself politically liberal.
Your squad made it to the
Okay.
safe
Well, this is a
zone.
politics. The context of this conversation here is politics. At least that's the context of this background. If you want to talk about theology, again, we can. But the background is putatively about politics.
We're on the same side.
I'll let you get on your way. And I'll get on.
All right, have a good one, man.
Enemies
Background,
are dropping
foreground,
into the area. Watch the skies.
Look, it is the background. I'm just
Good kill.
Enemy
Kurt,
down.
how's
That
it going?
squad on your tac map. Go get hunting. You're down one squad
going?
mate. We'll get you
doing
redeployed
all
faster.
right. Good. So, what do you think about this background? I can. There might be some delay. Can you? I'm gonna say one. Can you say two as soon as you hear me say one? I never said one.
Reinforcements inbound.
I was just waiting for confirmation. Sorry. One. Yeah, so there's a big delay. Kurt, I'm gonna kick you out of the box. Restart your app, maybe restart your phone. If you can get a better connection, that would be good. And then I'm happy to bring you back up.
We're detecting vulnerability in the enemy's network. Locate their uplink stations to secure
Logic
their
troll.
intel before they go offline.
Hey,
Yep.
Dr. Blitz, how's it going?
I'm okay.
I'm actually a little caught off guard. I was expecting you to have like some more people in the.
No, guest box is currently empty.
Oh.
The box has been slow today.
Okay, weird. I see your topic here. I'm just reading it. Conservatism is a mind virus. Any ism. Obviously, I'm hesitant because I recognize you're saying conservatism. So, to a degree, I hesitate to disagree with that statement. I do agree that anyone that's like socialism, capitalism, conservatism, like any ism generally is probably a bad thing.
Theism?
Theism. I mean, if it's an ism, it's yeah, it can definitely be a problem.
Loadout
for
drop
sure.
headed your way.
Autism?
I don't know. That's a funny one.
I don't know, bro. Sounds like you're saying autism is a mind virus, man. I think you're gonna get canceled.
Enemy soldier incoming.
We're
Down
all
to
in
you,
the
soldier.
spectrum. We're all canceled
Stay sharp.
for that one. But I do think there are some important conservative values that are worth maybe talking about. But I know that you'll probably agree with that, right? Like there's some conservative.
Well, worth talking about? Yes, in that we can talk about them and then explain why they're dumb.
Your squad mates redeploying.
No
Well done.
conservative values at all that you hold as valuable.
I mean, it depends on if you maybe you would call something a conservative value that I just wouldn't associate
Got gas
with
moving
conservative
in.
belief.
Right.
Maybe there's, so if you want to give an example, we can talk about it.
Well, I guess for me, it's hard to view something like economics through the lens of anything but like conservative principles.
It seems like when you say conservative, do you mean conservative in the political sense? Or do you mean conservative in like the capitalistic
There are
sense?
24
I guess
enemies
they're
active.
kind of like related, right?
Well, because I mean, like, you can be socialist, right? And socialist rejects the capitalist worldview, which, you know, is associated with conservative way of thinking about economics.
Right. But I would.
So, like, that's a way of doing it, at least.
But I would be concerned with, I guess, their economic models. Like their economic model, as far as their economics goes, it doesn't seem very sound. Like.
Are you at a skate park, by the way?
Yeah. Is it too loud? Is it too loud?
No, it's not that loud. It's just really funny that I've never talked to somebody while at a skate
You're
park.
redeploying.
Oh really? Yeah, I'm chilling here. I think my video. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh. Plaza.
Yeah, do a kickflip. Do a kickflip, bro.
Plaza.
Oh, lit. That's cool.
Yeah, this is downtown Vancouver. This is like downtown Plaza skate park.
The enemy resecured their network. It's over.
Nice.
Yeah, I hope it's not too loud. There's not too many people here, so I thought I'd talk to you.
If it gets annoying, then if it gets loud, I'll just ask you to mute when I'm talking and then unmute when you're talking. But beyond
Fire
that, it's
sale
fine.
active. Buy
So,
station prices
right,
have been reduced.
yeah, you want to talk about economics, I guess?
Yeah, like I'm concerned about the fiscal responsibility, I guess, of like liberal economic policies. Like I love morality, I love equality, the ideas of wealth distribution. The problem is how to do it, and without conservative principles, I don't know what would basically like guide us in risk management, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so what's the conservative principle that you think that is needed?
Risk management.
Why would you call risk management conservative?
Well, there's an element of like conservatism that's related to risk management, like being conservative. Now I know
So,
that. Yeah.
That's equivocating on the word conservative.
But it's not just an equivocation. Like these things have relevance as well. Like obviously, a conservative economist is actually generally more conservative.
Gas is closing in.
Their principles are generally risk, right?
I don't think that those are correlated. You can have what you're suggesting is instead of you're talking about a cautious economist perhaps, And I don't know if I would say that a cautious economist is necessarily more politically conservative.
Okay, no, I'm saying like in terms of justifying taxation, like any liberal policy or wealth distribution is going to be, you know, not conservative. Basically, a conservative would be against.
Conservative in what sense? Do you mean conservative in the sense of cautious?
No, I mean being against regulation and taxation, like a capitalist, someone who's more inclined to be against, you know, public policy or like a social welfare net, those kinds of things.
So why should I want to be against those things? It sounds like that those are just bad.
Well,
this just
it's not
doesn't
that
lead to a
you-
good worldview,
Yeah, like I said, I'm not necessarily
or a good economic policy rather.
Yeah, like I'm not necessarily against the ideas of those things. They are important, but implementing them in reality is where, again, the conservative like economic viewpoint takes its course. Like if it's a socialist economy regulated from basically some sort of centralized authority.
To be
then-
clear, not all
yeah.
socialist economies are centralized economies.
True.
I mean, I'm a socialist, and I'm not hugely in favor of like central or of a command economy. It's not my preferred mode of economic operation.
So so then I guess to the degree that you support,
Use this
like,
time for some
I guess
target
you don't wanna
practice.
call it capitalism,
Real things coming soon.
open free trade. Is that
Yeah,
part
free
of
trade
it?
I'm fine with.
Okay, like my definition of capitalism is just like open free trade. Obviously, there's an
Enemies
issue
dropping
with
into
like
the AO.
how we regulate that though.
All
right?
stations, we are
Can't have
green to go.
absolute-
Stand by
Well,
for deployment.
no. The issue is that that's just not what capitalism is, right? Capitalism is not just trade, because capitalism hasn't always existed, right? That's just
I would
humans
say,
storing value, right?
I would say capitalism, like I would say from my understanding of the term, capitalism has never really existed. It's similar to like communism. You know, again, these isms get a little difficult because there's always some sort of like mixed match.
Well, I mean, like capitalism isn't just defined as free trade. Which is not what capitalism
Open
is.
free trade. in the
Survive
sense
to
that
redeploy
it's,
fallen teammates.
laissez-faire.
Kill to bring them back faster.
I don't
This
know
is
how.
a
Sure.
Zone.
But so I would define capitalism as the economic mode of, or the economic mode, sorry, an economic model that has private ownership featuring significantly as the primary means of ownership.
Okay, I've never heard that definition before.
Many thanks.
But okay.
It was kind of clobbered together, but that's roughly the idea that you have private individuals or collections of individuals that own things, and that is the primary means of production. That's the primary mode of wealth generation and things like that.
And so a socialist
Armor here.
viewpoint is that like
The society as a whole, or we might say the proletariat, or you know, if you really want to get into like da comprad, you would talk about the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, all these things. The contrast with private ownership of community production, social production.
Friendly buy station
So rather than
deployed.
having a single individual who owns a factory, you would have the factory workers own the factory.
what about in terms of like individual private property ownership? Like maybe not land, but
Deployable buy stations ready.
When you
Yeah,
say
like I'm
trade-
fine with
Stand by
owning
for
a toothbrush.
redeployment.
Like you can own a toothbrush in a socialistic world, that's fine. Socialists tend to distinguish between private property and personal property. Private property being that which is used to produce value, personal property being that which you use to live. Like you would have a house. If you own a house, that would be personal property if you live there. If you own a house and you rent it to somebody else, that would be private property.
Okay. So, this ability to trade your personal property, would that be still implementing some sort of, based on my definition? Okay, so you don't want to, so you don't think that like any barter system has any.
Yeah, I think that's like I think that barter has existed since humans have existed, and I wouldn't have called that capitalism, right? I would just call that like commerce
back on
or trade.
Good work.
Like the idea of capital.
You've got reinforcements inbound.
You know, yeah, out of a certain industry, industriousness. I don't understand how that's unlinked.
You're losing ground.
Or like the
Move
idea
it.
of capitalism.
So capitalism is that. One way to view capitalism is that owning capital is valuable in itself. So by having capital, you can produce more capital just strictly from having capital. So there's still capital in some sense anyway, right? In that you still have, like, for example, if I owned my own business and I'm the only employee, I would still have capital. The business would still have, you know, stock, it would still have machines, and those are all forms of capital. Those would be private, that would be private property. But it's owned by the people who use them, so it's totally reasonable and justified. The issue is just, you know,
Make it count.
not to be a, not to just be a slogan sayer, but it's a matter of the means of who owns the means of production.
Your squad
Yeah,
mates
I agree.
redeploying.
I
Well
agree,
done.
because that relates to our ability to trade. Like the items that we shouldn't be able to trade, and our items that we do.
Friendly loadout
should be
drops
able
on
to
the
trade.
way.
That's an
Positive
important
ID on the bounty
distinction
targets. Hunt them down.
relating it, to the history of trade, sort of, and
You- Go ahead.
how barter is like been around forever. I'm just linking that to, like, I guess I see profit as the incentive of trade, and that is the capital and capitalism, or this wealth generation.
I don't even think that profit is necessarily is necessarily unique to capitalism. Again, in a socialist world, you can have like single employee businesses, right? Like in some sense, you know, if you make shoes in your workshop in your house, you are the only employee, and you're still, you know, you buy materials from someone else, from somebody who cuts down trees, and then I don't know, how do you make shoes? From somebody who makes leather or something, and then you put in some labor, and then you convert that labor into monetary value, which is what profit is.
Right, Hunter. Okay, so I see.
We are returning you to the front.
Here's why
Earn this.
distinction here is because the property that is owned by the society.
It's all on you.
collective,
Stay alive so your
is
squad can
up for
redeploy.
regulation. The open free trade and barter system is for our own personal property, the things that we have worked for.
You've got reinforcements inbound.
And so we can regulate those items and how we trade them. You know, based
Your
on
squad mate's back on station.
obviously the public
Good work.
What's collective is more of we need some sort of either democratic system or some sort of system where council basically votes on the protocols to regulate those properties, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean
right.
that's
Right.
yeah, sure.
So that is the problem that I'm having with the justification of that claim. So I enjoy thinking about things like an idealistic world where wealth redistribution helps equality, or the downtrodden of society. There's a social welfare net that helps them. I like those ideas. But again, the ways that we decide on implementing the wealth of, right, the profit of that we get, the way that we're going to redistribute that has to be somehow decided
back on
on
station.
in a way that's
Go get after it.
consensual, and that for me goes back
Well,
to
to be clear, So let me ask you this: do you think that it was immoral to free the slaves
squad
of Southern
members are
slave
in the
owners
safe zone.
in the 1860s after the Civil War?
No.
You got reinforcements inbound.
It was not immoral, but
Right.
we didn't have the consent of the slave owners.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
So why do you? But you don't have a problem with that, right?
No, the problem would have been with the original consent anyways. I wouldn't consider that part of like open free trade slavery as part of open free trade or capitalism, because consent is obviously in order to have like an open right, you can't
So
enslave
let me
anyone.
ask you this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a hypothetical, okay? So
Movement.
engage with the hypothetical. So I'm gonna ask. Let's say that
Cancel
you
last.
live in Iowa, right? and like rural Iowa, and it's a small town, and there are a few stores here and there. Walmart comes in, builds a Walmart. All of the other small businesses go out of business in that small town. So there's only one company in the entire city or the entire town, and it's Walmart. And everybody has to work there. Otherwise you don't have a job. Do you have have you given your consent to be paid minimum wage?
Yeah, excellent. Right. That's an excellent.
active.
No, I
Fire
would say
station
that
prices
you're
are
reaching
adjusted.
into some territory there where the word consent is definitely getting really murky. But we're kind of talking here about some issues. I would say that sounds like a social situation. Where there's like one store that's run by the collective, everyone kind of works there. That sounds more social. Capitalist open free trade. For that word. But as far as let's just use the word open free trade.
Go get your revenge.
You have a more competitive, diverse market.
So
the collective is the problem that I start getting, where I get wary of.
So if Walmart, if the Walmart was run by the people who work there, then I don't think that it would be non-consensual. The trouble with the example that I gave is that I think it is then justified for whoever set up that Walmart store. I think it's justified because consent was violated to begin with, and their town was robbed of all these things. I think it's justified to take back their town and seize the Walmart, if you will. Seize the means of production in the town.
Okay.
And the consent was already forfeit the moment the consent of these townspeople was taken. So I don't think that consent. I don't think consent always has to be given, especially from those who have already done the exploitation in the past. And I don't think that there's a single person who can say that. I don't think that there's a single billionaire that we can say did not exploit anybody to get where they are. So if that was seizing the wealth of a billionaire, I don't think we need their consent to do that.
There's a difference to draw between
Let me hear you.
exploitation.
Let's go under the bridge.
Profit. Just because you're profiting or exploiting someone doesn't necessarily mean that there's.
Get all the stuff you need.
I guess the word exploitation does maybe insist on. I don't know. What would you say about that?
Yeah, we in here. We safe in here.
I would say that. Look,
Now we just gotta
in
get
some sense,
closer
consent
to the edge.
it's like a sliding scale. You have full consent on one side and full exploitation on the other side. You'd have a free-loving, hippy dippy co-op on one side, and then you have slavery on the other side. There's obviously a sliding scale between those. It's not like one or the other. I would say that the system that we live in that enables people to, have a total wealth of in the hundreds of billions, pretty far on the exploitative side. And so, the way I see it, the closer you are to the slavery business, and I'm not saying that capitalism is literally slavery, but what I'm saying is the closer you get to there, the more justified you are in taking back from the people who are doing the exploiting.
Yeah, I agree.
What happened?
These are competing ideologies. Let's say the
enemy lost track of down there.
They were a huge minority. It was 1,000 person town.
Hey!
But
Come on.
The stockholders of Walmart are really the majority. They have much
What
greater
happened?
share.
No more water.
Decisions going on. So it's difficult when we say they should be able to take over or they should be able to defend the town. It's they're competing against a way bigger crowd of people who are incentivized in direction. And so balancing those incentives, again, I would say is not something that collective,
You're almost done here.
Central authority should do. Not saying that's necessarily socialist, but it should be left open to some sort of competitive, open, free market system, rather and decentralized, not just one policy deciding.
In the example you gave, there's 1,000 people in the town that, they want to get rid of the Walmart, they want to take over the Walmart, seize it for their own whatever. And then there's the shareholders that live in LA, the however many shareholders that are making money from this Walmart. I don't care about them. They're the people doing the exploiting. So the people in the town will go get their torches and pitchforks, and they're going to go run the managers out of town.
But surely you don't think that in general, well, because like, see, the problem would now be, so you don't defend, like, shareholders, the ability to, that actually protects us from things like monopolies. The ability to Walmart.
Stay strong.
That's
We'll make
actually
it.
the point that goes again more towards what you're talking about public ownership and the collective.
Made it to the
Anyone
top
can buy
5.
shares in Walmart. Now, obviously,
Oh boy, only
again,
5
there's a
remain.
sliding
You were
scale of
close.
more corrupt corporations, investment corporations, but just like everyone can reap the benefits of the services of Walmart across the country, or work at those services, they can also buy a stock or
Well,
you know,
first,
shares.
to buy a stock, you need to have money, freely available money to begin with. But more than that, let's say that what you're saying is true. That, you know, shareholders are, you know, it kind of democratizes ownership. Does that make monopolies okay? Like, let's say that there's a publicly traded company.
Well, by theory,
let's say that
it's not a monopoly because more than 51% of the shares have to be owned by the public, so it's not a monopoly. The one
Wait,
shareholder.
no. So hold on. Let's say that there's only.
Especially at the executive branch, he's not going to have that kind of authority, Parker. You know what? I know that. But we're going on this rhetoric, you know.
Appreciate the subscription. Thank you so
I'm
much.
looking at.
So don't take into
Okay.
account anything he has to say. He doesn't have that power. Why can't you say the same thing about Biden?
Well, listen, right? We can do that, you know. We can do that. We can say the same thing about the Biden, but I'm weighing the two candidates, and it's no way I could vote for Joe Biden. It's just no way possible.
Why?
It's no way possible. For one, he's senile. That's a dangerous thing.
What's your definition of
It's
that?
okay. When I look at the man, and basically, it's just base. You can look at Joe Biden and see that he's senile. Just look by looking at this guy.
What do you
He's
mean
like,
by
man,
senile?
This old fella is senile. You know, he's 87 years old.
He's not
He's
87.
incoherent, man.
He's like 4 years older than Trump.
Well,
right? If you watch the State of the Union, he looks completely fine. Right? I agree there is some mental degradation,
I don't know.
but like I think it's ridiculous for you to say that like he's quote unquote senile and to say that Trump is not senile.
No, okay, listen. They both may be senile. And I think there should be an age limit on.
Okay, if they're both
Check your gear and
senile,
weapons. We'll be
then
deployed
stop
shortly.
saying that's a reason why you're gonna vote for Trump. So what's the
65 should be
relevant
the limit.
difference? What's the relevant difference?
No. That's
What is the
no,
relevant
that's not
difference?
the reason why, Parker.
Hey man, I think
No,
there's a bit of a
don't do
there's
that.
a bit of a delay.
That's not the reason why. I'm not going to go for it. I just don't like. I'm just not a supporter of democratic policy. I don't believe in that. There's a lot of
Like
things
what?
about
What do you disagree with in terms of policy?
democratic system. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. And I mean, we talked about a couple of things that I just don't like.
That is.
I just believe that they just overtax. I think they overtax us. You know, they want to take away
All
our
stations,
wealth,
this is Shadow 01. Deployment
take
to the
away
war
our
zone
rights as
has been
American
authorized.
citizens.
What rights?
I want that bird ready in 3 mics. Relay those coordinates.
Our constitutional
Things
right.
all here.
What
Pursuit of
constitutional right?
happiness.
Word
One.
came down. We
First
are
Amendment,
green to go.
pursuit of
So gear up,
happiness.
grab your
fucking
chutes.
kidding me?
We're going to the war zone.
You're joking.
Enemy activity will be
You're joking
high.
to me. I can actually
Contact
point to things
early
like
and often.
abortion. I can
If I
actually
can-
point
if I
to
can-
things
if I-
like
if I
freedom
can
of
happiness
speech.
and wealth.
Listen.
Let's
freedom
roll.
of speech. Trump literally said that people who burn the American flag should be in prison. That's against freedom of speech.
Battle
They're
Royale.
talking out against their government. Okay? Freedom of speech. Him calling out for actually going against literal ingrained.
Gas is
constitutional
closing on your
rights.
position. Suggest you hightail it out of there.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. That's not going to shoot.
Now it's
That's
just
just
one
him.
man's opinion.
Stay firm.
And,
Oh my God.
no,
Literally just.
he doesn't have that power. I mean, remember what happened. No, but you remember what happened when he gets. Who was the football
Eliminate
player?
all
I can't
targets
think
in
of
the
his name.
AO.
When he was nailing.
Enemies are dropping into the area.
The football
Watch the
player that was
skies.
nailing,
Requesting
right?
ordnance. Position mark.
Hissy fit.
Copy.
Yes, that's it. Trump had a hissy fit about it, right? Yeah, I get that. We can argue either side, but that's not an extreme, situation. Gonna have authority to make something. There's no legislation. to say that, okay, now no one can
Down in the water
kneel
here
at
still.
football games, right? I mean, it's ridiculous.
You're
stuff.
losing
Yeah, there's such
ground.
good
Move
character
it.
that
You know,
children should be
picking on
looking
sport.
up to as the president of the United States. Appreciate this, especially. Thank you so much. Such good character for there to be a president of the United States that makes fun of people for being
Enemy marked.
war. What a great image for what our children should be looking up to. What a fantastic
Gulag.
view.
And you're gonna have to
Jason,
fight
thank
to
you
earn
for
redeployment.
$20 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate it. Thank you. W Jason in the chat, everyone. W Jason. Thank you so much, man.
But yeah, and that's the thing. I don't agree with a lot of things he says. I don't agree with a lot of things, but I just think he's a better candidate than Joe Biden. Man, I really believe Joe Biden is senile. Man, I swear to God.
And you also believe Trump is.
Hey,
And that's all they wrote.
How in the
A well-earned redeployment, soldier. Stand
Trump
by.
senile,
I think
Biden senile, then they're
I think I think Trump. Let me say this. I think Trump is a generally good person. I think he's a generally good person.
a proven sexual abuser,
I
a
think
proven
his
fraudster. Are you kidding me?
Come on. Come on.
Really? A good person? Appreciate love you. Thank you so much. A good person? You gotta be kidding me. A good person.
I can't say.
He makes fun of disabled
I can't
people.
listen.
Good person?
Yeah. Yeah. No. That's. Yeah, but hey.
He makes fun of people. Sutter's good person.
We can't go by. I'm not gonna go by.
Grab them by the pee.
I think
right,
he's
good person.
genuinely
Good
in
person. He
in
walks
context,
in on
okay, we gotta
on
look at-
little girls
okay, we gotta
changing,
look at
changing rooms and justifies it because he owns the place. Good person. Really? He for the Central Park Lodge, right? Never apologized when they were exonerated. Good person? Really?
Well, you got you got a good argument. You got a good argument there. Yeah. Yeah, I can't argue those things.
That
as
was
far as
close.
his personality, you know. I look at it more like an Archie Bunker. I don't know if you remember who Archie was, a mythological character from the 70s sitcom.
Is there like any actual reason why you want to
if we get back to the policies that if we can, that was funny. If we can get to the actual policies, for me?
Yeah, is that all you said?
No,
is
Your squad mate is in the gulag. They survived.
People removed under the Biden DHS than under the Trump DHS.
I need mid-caliber rounds.
You got a loadout drop inbound.
Say again?
There's been 3.5 times as many
But
people
okay,
removed
who
from the
allowed
country
who
under
allowed all
the.
these people to come into the country? Huh? Oh, wait, okay, but who allowed all of these illegals to come into the country? Was it Biden
Gas
or
is
was
And you don't know how
closing
many
in.
people
Relocate
who
to
are
the safe
illegal
zone.
in the
Look at the
country.
fiasco. Look at the
Squad mate
fiasco
has been
that's
cleared
going
for
on in New York.
redeployment.
Look at the fiasco that's
Moving.
going on in New York.
Eyes up.
Enemy dropping into the AO.
Women being stabbed, murdered, raped. There's no shit.
Share order essay. Undocumented migrants are less
I
likely to
remember-
commit
I am
crimes than
wounded.
massive war. They're multiple times less likely to commit war crime, violent crime,
Not
and
true.
property crime. I can give you a study right now from
We don't know
PNAS.org.
that to be true.
I do. I can send you a study right now from PNAS.org.
Parker, hold on.
You can look at it right now. You can look up comparing
can't
crime
take that
rates
because-
between undocumented immigrants,
wait,
legal
wait.
immigrants, and native-born
Parker,
U.S.
hold on.
citizens in Texas. Let me finish, bro. In Texas, okay?
Go ahead, Parker. Go ahead.
Okay. You see? You can look it up
Finish.
right now. Are you saying it's fake? Look it up right now. It's literally right in front of you.
Okay. No, I'm not saying that. Let me respond. Those studies can't be accurate because we don't know
Gas
how
is
many
closing
illegals are
in.
in this country.
You know how
Right?
many how
So
many
you-
people
so
are here
you're
illegally?
taking-
How would you make how many people here in the safety? Nice. You just keep up with yourself.
No. How is that so? I'm
You
asking
just
you.
said that you don't know how many people
okay.
are here in the country illegal. But earlier you were making claims that they're illegal now. You don't know how many people here are illegal.
But we see it. We see it every day. Well, okay, you're gonna argue the fact that we don't see people coming across the border every day, right?
You can, but that doesn't mean you know the numbers or you have the numbers. How do you know it's any more than Trump's administration?
Okay, wait. We don't, and that's the point. That's the point I'm making. But you're running away from
So
me
you
here.
don't know. So you don't know. Then what's your point?
My point is you don't know either, and your statistics are not accurate because no
Dude,
one knows.
This is for 2020. Okay, so you're not understanding. We do know. This goes off
We
of
don't
data that we
know.
have, and this is in Texas.
Okay, well,
by the
how
way.
much is it costing the country to send all those people back?
Cash here.
I don't know. I don't know what the cost is for that.
Exactly, it's astronomical.
Probably not.
It's astronomical.
I don't know what you mean by
They're
astronomical.
flying
but
first class, going back to their country. They're free trips back and forth across the border. They come over here illegally, then they fly them back. They come again, they fly them back.
you know, most people. A lot of people come into the country, they fly here, and then overstay a visa. Okay, you're talking about people who are coming through the asylum process. The asylum process. Hold up, JB. The asylum process is a legal process.
Right?
Tossing a decoy.
Okay, what's the issue?
Say again?
The asylum process is a legal process. Minal, thank you.
Got you. You're saying the asylum process is a legal process?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, what does that have to do with what I'm talking about?
Because a lot of the people you're referencing.
Asylum process? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know what your issue is. Look at this. Right, under the context of Trump's administration, in the context of Biden and Obama, they had similar policies related to immigration. There's more people coming to the country now overall as it relates to the context of encounters. I would say it's not likely to be based upon policy. I would say it's likely to be based upon...
Got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
Right, there are plenty of different things in possibility that could be relevant to why this is occurring. I don't think it's going to be specifically related to policy. Else, if it was related to policy, then we would see in, when Obama was in office, that there would have been more people coming into the country. We did not
Somebody
see.
buy me back.
Okay.
Got cash here.
How does that debunk my argument? Even if it's 20,000 or 200,000, if they come in here illegally, it's going to play a role. It's going to affect this country economically.
Yeah, immigration affects it in a positive way.
Let me finish, brother. You're not even allowing me to finish my
apologize.
thought. I'm an old guy, Parker. You gotta go slow. I'm an old guy, Parker. Go slow with me. If someone is coming to this country illegally, they're working here illegally. They're putting a strain on the economy illegally because they're not paying taxes, right? They pay zero taxes. Then you gotta round them up and send them back. That's costly.
You got gas moving in.
Give me some statistics, because you like to throw statistics. Give me some statistics on those numbers. We don't have it.
You're saying
right,
you're
your
saying
squad's
on
in
the
the safe zone.
people who are
Wait,
undocumented pay.
listen. Let me finish my thought. Then when
I'm
they
just asking.
when
Wait,
they,
no, you were just stopped talking.
I was still thinking at the time. I'm a little old.
Okay.
I'm thinking and I'm talking as well. I mean, I finished. And then, now I lost my train of thought. And on top of that, when they commit crimes,
So
tracked by an enemy
undocumented
squad.
immigrants do
Evade
pay
and
taxes.
survive.
They do pay taxes. Migrants pay taxes.
They
Right?
do not.
Undocumented migrants specifically, they pay more in taxes than they take out. Right?
what?
Yes.
Are you,
Yes.
where? How can someone? You have to have a social
I'll pull it
security
up.
number to pay taxes, Parker.
No, you don't.
You do.
No, you don't.
You do. Parker, you
No,
do.
you don't. Do tourists? Listen. Listen.
Go ahead.
Listen. Do tourists pay taxes?
Say again.
Do tourists pay taxes?
Tourists? You tourists? We're not talking about tourists.
Hey, just use your brain for 1 second.
Tourists,
The enemy is no longer tracking.
They do pay taxes. Do they have a social security number?
That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. Tourists come here. They don't stay years and years and years on the dole and punish this country.
What do you mean punish this country, bro?
They punish in the country. Because
How
if
so?
by the taxes operating illegally, the burden is
You're
placed
saying,
upon
oh my
us.
gosh, bro. Dude, again, can you give me any reason to dispute that? I can give you literally right now that billions of dollars in taxes are paid by the According to the ITEP estimates, in 2013, in 2013, this is what it was. It was 7 billion in sales taxes, 1.1 billion in income taxes, and 3.6 billion.
Gas is moving in. New safe zone located.
So you're telling me
Moving.
illegals own properties in the United
Disregard that.
This is according to
Flyby. Drones are deploying buy stations in the area.
ITEP's estimates. Taxes in 2013.
States? So illegal migrants pay property taxes
State, local taxes.
and federal taxes.
Again, state and local taxes.
Federal taxes.
This is state and local.
No.
Moving here.
Federal as well.
This is state and local. I
You
can
can't
find.
pay.
Cancel
You
last.
can't pay state taxes without paying federal taxes.
I don't think that's. I think that's chemicals, but I don't know. I have to check further to see what it is
Yes,
for.
I'm gonna
For
I'm gonna
for
dispute that one there.
otherwise.
That one is kind of I don't think that's a legitimate.
What do you mean? This is from. Okay. So what's
Gas is closing in.
Because there's no mention of federal taxes. You can't pay state taxes without paying federal taxes. Nowhere in the country, Hawaii
Get
or
your
Alaska.
squad to the safe
Maybe
zone.
Alaska.
No one gets left behind.
Unless
It may be in tax.
unless you're here as a visa or something. Unless you have a visa.
No.
Yeah,
So they do
I can
pay
see that.
taxes. I can
But
also
Oh,
if
send you.
If you're here. No. Listen. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, so it is the case that individuals can pay taxes with an ITIN, right? So like the IRS estimated that undocumented
Social
immigrants.
Security
Listen.
numbers. Bam. Yes.
No, it's not. It's not fake
ahead.
Social Security. It's the IRS estimates that undocumented immigrants. Can you let me finish?
Stolen Social Security numbers.
Can you let me? Do I have to mute
Go
you?
ahead. I don't want to upset you. No. Go ahead.
The IRS estimates
Moving.
that undocumented immigrants pay over
Disregard
9
that.
billion in taxes annually. Undocumented the system but are ineligible to collect the benefits upon retiring. In 2010, 12
Attack
billion
me!
more was collected from Social Security payroll taxes of undocumented workers than were paid out in benefits. It's from bipartisanpolicy.org.
So you're telling me that, for one, they're here illegally, they're working illegally, and the government is.
So there's federal income and payroll taxes.
You're telling me your argument is.
What I'm saying is that people.
Gas is closing in. Get to the new safe zone.
And people who are here undocumented, they pay more into the system than they take out. If they're paying more into the system than they take out, they're not a screen towards anything. They're giving to the system without receiving. Right? You're literally completely
Friendly
wrong.
loadout dropped on the way.
Dropped them. That's your opinion.
That's not
That's
my
your
opinion. That's the facts.
That's not facts.
These are the facts. These are absolutely the facts. They are absolutely the facts.
In real time.
Absolutely
real
unequivocally.
Life, in real time.
I need cash.
Real life, as someone who has employed illegals,
Gas
I can
is
assure
moving.
you that they work under the table.
Wait, you've
paid no
employed people
taxes,
who are
you
undocumented?
benefited. Great. Absolutely.
Please, first of all, you just admitted to a crime. Second of all, you just contradicted yourself so fucking hard because now you're saying it's okay for people to be here in the country so long as they're fucking working for you and you're able to pay them low wages. Wow, what a fucking hypocrite, dude.
Slow
That's
down.
actually crazy.
Field upgrade
Slow
here.
down. slow down. This was years. I acknowledge that they were illegal, and this was years ago. All right. I was just. Let me explain to you how this transpired before you come at me with a barrage of daggers, man.
Moving here.
Come on, slow down. I bought into a franchise.
Enemy.
They came with that company without my knowledge until I found out after the fact. I wouldn't break the law that way, Parker.
Wait, so then it was.
Anybody want to give me money?
No, it was not legal. That's
Okay,
my
so
point.
you did break the law.
I'm telling you, listen, Parker, I'm giving you my experience.
So you broke the law.
Personal experience. Say again?
You agree you broke the law.
I didn't break the law. They came
Gas is
with the
inbound,
business.
marking a new safe
I
zone.
sold the business immediately afterwards. Once I found that, yes, they had.
Gulag is closed until further notice.
They had the social security numbers, but they told me that those were illegals. Those were stolen numbers.
You said you hired them, and now you're going back on that, bro. They came with the business, even though I hired them. I hired them, but they came with the business.
Enemy buy station incoming.
You're like
You're
Trump,
losing
you're like
ground.
Trump.
Threats in
Move
the
it.
area.
It's actually
Be
unbelievable.
advised, you still have squad mates outside the safe zone.
Dude, I can't do it. Tap the screen, everyone. Let's run it up to 250,000 likes. By the way, everyone, we're getting absolutely
Listen.
destroyed by the TikTok algorithm because I just got my account back from a week ban,
Awesome.
everyone. So,
Awesome.
what
Hey,
were you
Parker,
saying?
listen. There's no reason for me to lie to you, my friend.
Only
There's
25
no
left.
reason for me to lie.
Keep up the good work.
I'm just giving you my experience.
Got movement.
I didn't per se hire them. They were hired to work for me. I didn't, even if I did choose, they tell me after the fact that, hey man, this is illegal. Everyone does this.
Yeah, you're just like Trump. Because Trump also hired undocumented immigrants.
Gas is closing in. Get to the new safe zone.
Yeah, Trump also hired undocumented. You know that?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So he doesn't care about undocumented immigration so long as he's literally benefiting from it.
But in my case, I surrendered my business
Dropping ammo here.
because I didn't want the potential.
Trump didn't. What did Trump do?
You got gas moving in.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the full story on that.
Get your squad to the safe zone. No one gets left behind.
I'm not saying he's a great guy. He's smart business. He
You've
took
said that a lot of times in this
He
conversation.
told you.
You're
Say
in the
again?
top 10.
said that a
Keep
lot of
knocking them
times.
He
out.
took advantage of the laws, right? No, I'm sorry. Say it again.
I said you said this a lot of times in our
Say again?
conversation that he's a really bad guy. He's not a good guy.
Personally, but his policies. Okay, we're getting away
What
from
policies? Tell me the policies.
Grenade out.
One, it's against illegal immigration.
So is
Even
so
though
is Biden.
Enemy soldier
even though
incoming.
he's benefited on it, right?
Has
Gas
Biden
is closing
benefited from
in.
it?
Relocating the safe zone.
I don't know Biden's
No,
story.
so
man.
like it
Everything
seems
about
like
Biden-
Biden's a better alternative there.
It's like everything about Biden is so hush hush. I've heard some ugly things about Biden.
Gas
Right.
is inbound.
On the opposite side, they say a lot
Head
of
to the
ugly
safe zone.
go too deep into things or get
Stand
emotionally
tall.
caught up in those things. That's why I only stick with the policy that I'm saying, right? A person's
Only
a
4
person's
remain. Finish the job.
behavior. So it's not,
That could have been bad.
if you have a job, right? You have a job.
You could hit that by.
It doesn't. My personality is not going to affect the job that I need. I'm not going to be hired because I'm not going to hire you because you're a nice guy. You like everybody. Everybody loves you, and your work performance sucks. You can be the
We're still
nastiest
standing. That
SOB,
victory's ours next time. The enemy
right?
took that one, but we'll
If-
get them
if
back.
you- get the
If
job
Trump was a
done,
rapist, would you still vote for him?
What question is that? What kind of question is that?
Trump in the
Parker.
context of a court was
Parker.
proven to be a
Come on, you can't
rapist,
ask me those-
if Trump in the context of a court was proven to be a rapist, he's
Shadow
still
1 is
guilty.
inbound for extraction. Visual on your
Parker, I
mark.
have a daughter. Let me
Hold on
pull it
tight.
up.
Yeah, and he's a sexual.
Here comes the snap.
That's the difference between rapists. You can abuse sex and not be a rapist. Really?
There were
When you say
26,
the R
there's
word,
26 people that have claimed him of sexual misconduct. Right, and she claims
Return the
rape.
conquering
They just didn't
hero.
claim enough evidence.
Doing us all proud downrange.
Evidence to indicate sexual abuse.
Time for assessment. Let's stay locked and loaded. This ain't nearly over.
Man. That's another political thing. I don't want to engage
That
that. Let's go
indicates
to
that
another
there's less
topic,
political
'cause
bias, because if
that-
it was
that's
political
different.
bias, they would have given him the harsher sentence.
I don't want to challenge that argument. I don't want to take on that argument. I don't want to touch that because
you know he's fucked up,
Man,
and you're
it
voting
hurts-
for a
it
man
hurts-
that's
it hurts
fucked up.
everybody. No.
Yes,
no,
you are.
Parker.
You are. You're voting for a
Has he
proven
been
sexual
convicted?
abuser. You.
Okay.
That's what you're doing.
Okay, you brought it up, Parker. You brought it up.
He
Has been
literally
convicted for illegal
mistook
crime?
E. Jean Carroll for his ex-wife, right? So they look similar enough, but then also at the same time said specifically that the reason why he would have never sexually abused E. Jean Carroll is that because, quote unquote, she wasn't his type. Okay, so how is she so similar looking to his ex-wife that he mistakes the two, but she's also not his type. Sounds like he's lying, and you're following
But
right
Parker,
for his
Parker,
manipulation.
Hold on. But you said, what if he's a rapist? You said that.
A grape is you have to say
Right?
R word essay or grape. Yeah, that's TikTok to us.
The R word. Okay. But you said that. I don't want to get in. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into the back and forth with the legal ramifications. If he's convicted of that, then my answer is going to be with an H, no. If he's been convicted of that, of those crimes, it's going to be no.
He's been held liable for sexual abuse in the context of a civil court.
That's not the same thing. It's
That
not the
is.
same thing.
That is. The only difference is that it was past the statute of limitations.
Come on, Parker. If I'm liable for if I'm driving in
If
a
you
car,
were held liable for sexual abuse, right? Or
Hold
if
on,
someone was
hold
held
on.
liable for sexual abuse and they were going to date your daughter in the future, right? Would you care?
Of course I would care.
Oh,
of course I would care.
Would you be comfortable with that?
I said that already. I said it. Of course I would care.
Oh, so but but you're comfortable with this guy being fucking president of the damn fucking United States.
Let me finish. I would investigate to find out if those allegations are true. Right? Or what was the basis behind it? If she loves this person, I would want to know everything about this person. Right? His history, everything. If it's a case where there is no pure evidence linking them to.
There is evidence. There is evidence, and again, this was determined by a jury of his peers.
It's like saying
based upon a preponderance of the evidence.
Wait a minute, Parker. It's like this. If you're saying that MJ, right, the greatest performer, singer, and MJ, Michael Jackson. If you're saying that he's responsible for the R word with kids, right? But he's been in the court of law. He's been proven, no, he's never done that. And you have he's gone through the microscope. You looked at all of his records. You looked at his computers and everything. Nothing is on there remotely close to child predator behavior, right? Child predatory behavior. If there's nothing close to that.
But there's settled ones.
Wait. And he settles
right,
out
in
of court.
1994, Jackson settled a lawsuit made against him for $23 million, with $5 million going to the family's lawyers.
Okay, right. Does that make him guilty of that?
Well, I'm just saying, why do we need to settle?
I don't know. You can't ask me that question. But if he settled that because he doesn't want the publicity, that's a gamut of reasons why. He's a high-profile individual. These are high-profile individuals. So those of us who are not, we're going to fight tooth and nail to clear our names. But if you're high-profile individuals, you're paying lawyers' fees, you're paying, this can go on.
None of this makes him innocent, by the way. None of this makes Michael Jackson innocent. One second, by the way. Two, Two.
Would you agree? Okay, would you
Two,
agree?
again, you're not understanding. One, none of this makes him innocent. Two, if you want to look at this, if he's held liable in the context of a civil court, Donald Trump specifically, right? Do you think that that's at all reason to believe that he's more likely than not that he's done it?
No, no.
So you
I'm not
don't
gonna
think
take
that
that
it
position.
changes it at all?
I'm not going to take that position that he's guilty of what they're saying because it's it's a different.
Do you even know
situation.
anything about the case?
It's a different situation. Hearsay, yeah, but
Do you know